From metamorphosis to metamorphosis. I mean, what a diversity of presentations and thought processes we've seen over these 2 days. Yesterday, we saw how the normal materials that we normally work with have been used to create such convoluted forms which we could not have imagined that was possible by technology used in fabrication. And today, we see another line of thought which says, forget all these materials because all of these are carbon emitting, and let's look at brand new materials that actually absorb carbon instead. We are going to build in these 10 years, which have already started, more than what was built in the last 30 years. People are talking about carbon emissions, reducing the carbon footprint, but we are going to build 3 times more in these 10 years, and the process has already begun. The way our cities are developing today, the construction has gone 3 times more. So at the end of one more decade, we will have that much more construction. And how is one going to tackle the carbon footprint with all this if we don't dramatically change the way we think? It's going to be a disaster. Exactly what Marcos said. I think we have a lot of cues in our own traditional Indian architecture, at least from the planning principles and the way materials are used. So the client for this house, which is built in Nokha, which is in Bikaner district in Rajasthan, first showed us this image and said, Sanjay ji, I want an Umayyad Bhavan. So I said, Umayyad Bhavan has been built 140 years ago. There's a certain scale to it. There's a certain size to it. You cannot build the Umayyad Bhavan again. It took a long time for him to be convinced. 8 months of drawings going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And basically what we did is, you look at the plan. You walk into Umayyad Bhavan, it's 40 degrees outside, and it's still cool in the inner spaces without air conditioning because of the advanced ways that they had thought, because of the courtyards, because of the 12 to 15 feet wide corridors, because of the passive cooling that is created, because of the air cooling system that at that time somebody devised that runs through with cool water within the building. So these are the floor plans of the house that we created, which is 35,000 square feet. It's centered around a large courtyard, but we took the courtyard concept a little further and made a series of secondary courtyards which run on the entire perimeter of the house, creating these cool sheltered spaces where you walk out into. And within this house, there are 4 different heights. The central courtyard is 40 feet high. Some of the rooms are 20 feet high, and most of the bedrooms are 14 feet high. So this is a cross section which shows the various volumes, and the building is seen as a series of these cuboid compositions, but each one is done for a reason, to reduce the heat gain into the building by natural means and by the design itself. The house as it's seen from the approach, so it's a series of these cuboid compositions, stone screens, actual stone walls, all sourced from this region, all the labor sourced from the same region, built very sustainably. And the beauty of this house is that when you walk in, while it is 42 degrees outside, you actually don't need an air conditioner or a fan in most parts of the house, simply because of the way it's designed. Each part of the house opens to garden areas. There are a lot of water fountains and water troughs all around for passive cooling. This is the walkway which leads to the house. The pergolas are all in natural sandstone, 3-inch thick. And on each side, there are this series of sheltered courtyards, smaller courtyard spaces where the house moves out into. This is the central courtyard, which is the highest. And all of it is naturally ventilated from the top with clear stories, and there is a stone screen on the top as well. And these principles have been used throughout traditional Indian architecture, especially prevalent in Rajasthan through so many centuries. It's a very brief video.
हाथ में हाथ किया उड़ा आज एक होम दिन ले जी
होम जी दिया 5-7 दिन बाद आज कर दिया
तीनों दिन
इल्यान छुट्टी मत यार एवढ्या बी आज मी कार झालो विचार 7 दिन विसाद के सूट दूर कराना गोवण
So the interiors were all done by Nina. This was the metamorphosis of traditional planning principles that are prevalent without actually copying directly from the past, used in a different way. The next project is a metamorphosis of the brief itself. So in this project, when the client came to us, this is the site. It's also in Noka. And what you see on the top is the client's house. This is the place where their father had passed away and the last rites had been done exactly at this point. And it is only because we were doing the other house that you saw that I was regularly going to Noka. Otherwise, these people, the clients for this project, thought this was too small for us to be involved in. But he said, since you're already coming to Noka, can you look at this and maybe do this as well? And this is the sketch they came with. They wanted to build a memorial. So my first question was that who is going to come to this memorial? You will come as family, your close people may come, but after that, what else? And why would people want to come again and again to something that is like a temple? And then we studied the village because we've already been going to Noka so many times. There's no community space in the entire set of 144 villages in Noka. So Noka is a region of 144 villages, and Silwa is the village where this is located. Not just that, the schools are in really bad shape. But it is amazing when you talk to these students that they're actually still happy even in these schools. It just makes you go and think, what is it that we want from life? I actually went and asked four or five of these girls, it's a girls' school. They said, we don't need a new school. We are very happy. We got everything. These students studying in this school said, we are very happy. We have everything. So, anyway, these schools did not have a library. So we told the client that instead of just making a memorial, make a community center. Celebrate the point where the last rites were done and build something around it rather than enclosing that. So that's the location. This is what the client's requirements were. And that's how we transformed their thinking and they finally accepted it. With the rider that the area is less than 10,000 square feet and the budget is also limited. So that was the look of the kind of thing that they wanted. This was the first sketch done on a flight. And we started by looking at how to create a circular space which becomes a gathering space, like a courtyard, but not the traditional courtyard, which is always square or rectangular. And then we cut that away so that the internal courtyard can actually merge with the outside toward the northern side, so it can take even larger gatherings. And then we extended these arms so that there is a sense of enclosure when you come to that point. And then further, reduce the height on one side, increase it on another side, so that that 9,000 square feet building that you're making actually has a roof of 9,000 square feet, which also becomes accessible. And in doing so, you get a large volume where a library is situated and a smaller volume where a museum is. And the garden, which is accessible as a double spiral, which you go up from one side on a shallow slope, you come down on a slightly steeper slope. All the utility facilities are kept towards the extreme northern end with a cafeteria, bathrooms, service spaces. Most importantly, we wanted to make this garden, but Nokha has a water shortage. How do you address that? But whenever it rains, and it does rain every year, there is a certain amount of water. It's a question of only harnessing that water. So we built a 9 lakh liter capacity water tank. The earth that came out of that is used to create the earth berms around the circular shape on the south, east, and the west. So you increase the energy efficiency of the building, make the spaces within cooler, and at the same time, you have enough water throughout the year simply by rainwater harvesting to water the garden as well as take care of the other facilities. And then within this earth berm space, there are these scooped skylights which give light to the museum spaces below. And the stone panels which surround the library are all in natural sandstone. So these are the floor plans. Very, very simple. So an open auditorium in the center. The lower height has the museum. The higher height has the library, which is open to all the village children as well as the villagers. These are cross sections showing how the auditorium is built into the landscape and then extends out towards the northern side. That's the difference between the heights from one side to the other, and this is how you see the building when it is finished from the top. And from the south, where it is completely protected by the earthworm, an aerial view, and then views from different sides. So this is looking at from the eastern side, from the southern side, right on the top. This tiny project of 9,400 square feet has actually given us more satisfaction when we interacted with the children who are using them, much more than a 10 million square feet project would give you. You have to see the happiness of these children when they use these spaces. That's the library space. It's got these changing patterns of light throughout the day. And this is the building being used as a community center. So it's open to everybody from all the villages. So it's actually succeeded in bringing people together in the true sense. So these are all the sustainable features that were built into the design itself. So the building is actually naturally cool and built with the resources from within the region by local craftsmen in material which is also sourced from there. So this is just a 9,000 square feet office, but what it generates is a 27,000 square feet open, sheltered auditorium space, as well as a 9,000 square feet roof garden. So a tiny built-up area of 9,000 square feet generates 35,000 square feet, sorry, totally 45,000 square feet of usable space in different ways. Every day, 300 to 500 people come. 300 to 500 is a very small number for anybody living in Bombay or any other large city, but 300 to 500 in a population of what Nokha has is a huge number. So people come in buses to see this building and then spend the day there. But the most important thing what has happened with this building is that it has now fueled a whole series of community spaces which we are also doing. So the next project, which is starting next month itself, is this Village Girls School, which is going to be a non-air conditioned space. It's going to have classrooms right from primary up to 12th standard, open courtyard spaces in the middle, negotiating a natural terrain difference of 9 meters within the site, deep sheltered windows, so very reduced heat gain, a completely usable rooftop. This was where I was asking them those questions as to what they need, and they were telling me that we don't need anything, we have an amazing school. So that's the school they will now get. And then there's a small community space within the village itself where we are planning a garden which can be used in multiple ways, using just the stone verticals which are available there. Literally at 800 rupees, you get a stone vertical which is 4 feet high, sandstone, 2-inch thick. And using that one material, we're making this entire garden. And then there is a 200-year-old Shiva temple which we are restoring and making community facilities there. So that will become yet another community space for Nokha village. And this is a brief video on the community center. Thank you very much for your attention. And, and thank you all once again for coming to Dialogues.